The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
Your mate.
Yes, he's the DB of the show, man. And you know what we do about this time, and we're just going to jump right into the live, man. We missed you guys, and then it's always a good time when we, take it into the locker room and say it with our chest and get it off our chest, man. So without further ado, man, mate, you ready to just start bringing people in the room?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, man. Call them out when you see them.
Brandon, what's up, brother? King Gene.
What's happening?
What's good?
Young E.
I'm not, man.
That's awesome.
Let's go. In true fashion, man. What better way to start off the October live, man? We're calling this the homecoming live, man. Just it's about that time, if you're high school, college. So, we got some people that may have just attended, and we'll get into that a little bit later, man. But we like to just open doors and even you blowing that blowing your vape, man. It sounds real bad.
Oh man.
Does Batman really need headphones?
Yeah, Batman ain't gonna be able to hear shit without them.
Let's go. All right, Shannon must be on that break. They let you outside for a little break, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right,
sir.
So welcome everybody. So we're gonna start. Anybody have anything they want to kind of start us off with, man? Anything that's been weighing on them, because there's a lot going on right now in the world of sports, man, dealing with us and our people, man. So does anybody want to start off with anything? Oh man, since when have y'all been shy? Man?
Everybody else get a chance. I'm just trying to figure out what's up with the Luka hate. Luka's averaging the most out of anybody ever right now in the league currently. Most points, maybe not most rebounds or assists, but he should be an MVP front runner. No shade to Ja, but Ja is not him. Luka is Himothy, okay?
Yeah, but Himothy got shoved the other day by Durant, which was
yeah.
That was
but in the
cold,
MVP race, Ja is number 1 and Luka's number 4.
Yeah, I don't even have. I'm with you. I have Luka and Giannis as 1 and 2. I don't have Ja there.
Ja's still doing his thing, but
yeah.
Have we played 10 games?
No, we haven't. Which
No,
I mean,
right.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, we have not. Definitely not.
Hey,
Like,
it's early.
It's definitely early.
Back in.
But I'm still just trying to figure out where the outlier is.
I think the outlier is, and just my opinion. He's playing kind of like my career or my player in 2K kind of right now, and just doing his thing, getting stats. I know his team is not as strong as probably Josh's team is, but
right.
It's kind of an eyesore to watch. And he's talented. It's just he has the ball and he's going to dribble. He's going to take step backs, and that's what it is. That's the brand of basketball the Mavericks play. So I think that's where my hate would come from.
That's fair. The brand of basketball the Mavs play is get a 20-point lead and then lose it. The last 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter to make it a competitive game. They've been doing that 20 years.
Yeah, I always call it daddy ball, where it's get a ball to daddy and let daddy will let you pass. When he passes you the ball, be ready for you to shoot.
Yeah.
And only LeBron James could really master the daddy ball. So we'll see.
That's fair.
They got their first win, man. They
finally they did. I missed it. Damn.
Yeah, Denver, like they won the championship.
Yeah, they were there celebrating. I was like, that's so lame. Like, you're the Lakers.
That's good though.
You are the Lakers. Act like
it. Can we agree that LeBron's in the Wizard years, the Jordan Wizard years? Finally,
definitely in those Wizard years.
Can we finally agree on that?
He's definitely in those years.
He's got that great commercial out, right? Him versus Father Time. It's perfect time for all of that culmination to come together.
Man, I don't know, man. Like
that's HGH. It's fine.
Yes, maybe, but that squad is so bad. I'm not sure who would be good with just one person on that squad. I mean, AD looks like he's a walking bubble. Like every game, he's like hunched over, like he's 60 years old.
And Westbrook's a walking brick.
That first game.
Hey,
Yeah.
Westbrook had a good game the other day. He the reason they won their game. Don't do that man like that.
He's a walking brick, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, he is, but still.
I mean, he's not out here airballing layups. So
I was like, when he didn't play, they still got blown out. So it's not his fault. There's other things going on with that team.
they just don't mesh well at all. It's so weird to see.
No shooter.
The issue is LeBron needs the same spots on the floor that AD needs to get to. And that's the issue. Like AD is not going to be effective with LeBron. No forward ever has been effective with LeBron. All the numbers have went down. It's because they need the same spots on the floor.
Yeah, and the spacing's all bad, right?
Yeah,
They don't have anybody to step across that 3-point line, so it's no challenge out there.
No.
But wasn't that the argument for LeBron James back in the Cleveland years, that he just elevates his team? He got the Boobie Gibson, he got Eric Snow, whatever his teammates. That argument has existed and elevated whatever legacy LeBron James has had. So
he always had shooters. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean Shane Battier, Ray Allen, Bosh. I mean the list goes on and on. Like if he don't got no shooters, you could triple team LeBron and they say he don't have anybody else to help. So they got to trade Russell Westbrook, point blank period. And then if they trade Russ, try to get Buddy Hield, try to get Miles Turner, and then now you put yourself in position to be a top 5 team in the Western Conference. Now you got somebody that can back up AD. And then you got a legit shooter in Buddy Hield, spread the floor. Now LeBron can actually be able to run the point and be able to facilitate and allow everybody to play their game.
Yeah, and I still think they get bounced in the first round.
Or not.
They get bounced in the play-in, yeah.
Play-in at best.
They get bounced in the play-in.
I mean, current team, right? So, I mean, is there any hope, like, for any kind of trades? You think there's
nobody's going to give them what they want? Like,
contract for Russell Westbrook is not.
They need shooters.
There's no desirable contract. And the way they played the past year and however many games we are into this season, they don't even have any desirable assets, not even from a business standpoint. Rob Pelinka and LeBron James did a terrible job together.
Right.
That's it. Both of them. They just did a terrible job. I don't know if they can trade AP. Well, you know what's even crazy? You know what's even crazier is that Russ is still in a uniform and Melo isn't. And if you just went off of last season alone, Melo had a far better season than Russ. And
fair.
Russ got more longevity than Russ is not in a good system, but let's not act like Russ can't put up points and ball.
But Melo can do the exact. Melo can put up buckets pretty much on anybody still.
Not today.
Yeah. Not like he used to.
He did. Anytime he got a chance to, he would do it. At the end of the day,
yeah. But my 9-year-old nephew can play defense better than him. He is a liability.
So that's what Russ is doing, playing defense.
I mean, listen, Melo is bigger of a liability than Russ is.
Melo will give you points. Russ is not giving you points. Doesn't play D. Turns over the ball.
Russ's plus minus is like horrendous.
Like it's not even close. And I don't mean to steer this away from Russ, but it's just when I think about it, and I am a Melo fan, it's just like forget the numbers, forget the analytics. If you've watched the game over the past couple of years, there's no reason why one is in the league and one isn't. Absolutely not.
Well, one's attitude is crappy.
That's why he's the one stinking it up.
Yeah.
But no. Melo's attitude is crappy.
That's
the reason why Melo's not in the league.
Russ does not think he's been playing bad.
Well, no, that's different. That's different compared to being just crappy. I don't want to go to practice. I don't want to show up bad. That's what Melo is.
That's never been Melo's story.
That has always been.
I've never once. This is the first time I've ever heard anything remotely close to that.
Well, guess what? I was working with the Rockets with Melo, and Melo never showed up to practice.
anything
never showed up to practice.
Anything led by D'Antoni has to be struck from the record in general.
Correct.
Listen,
exception.
Alex, some of these teams need D'Antoni just to be relevant because there's a lot of bad coaches in this league.
Yeah,
D'Antoni will at least get you to the playoffs.
I'll agree to that. The coaching in the NBA is pretty bad at
yeah, it's more AAU ball going on than coaching.
Right. Yeah. I think Melo, once you get to that veteran minimum contract, it's probably the reason why Westbrook won't do a buyout. I mean, because when you start playing for the vet minimum, they just kind of trade you around, and I don't know, for some reason, your value is right up with that contract. I mean, where's Blake Griffin at now? You know what I mean? Like, he wearing 91. He don't even got a regular number. Celtics. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
He's with the Celtics, right? He's with the Celtics.
Yeah, that's why once you start getting that vet minimum contract, they just kind of they kind of disrespect you a little bit.
Yeah. Very true.
Look, Melo hasn't matured yet. He still hang around knuckleheads every once in a while.
I'm really not sure where this narrative is coming from. And
it's not a narrative. He was literally on the team when I was working for the.
No, I'm not.
Like, I saw it with my own eyes.
Again, the Houston thing in general was just a terrible idea because you got to remember, D'Antoni was in New York with Melo.
Yeah.
And that didn't work, and they chose Melo over D'Antoni, which to me made all the sense in the world. And then D'Antoni was the coach in Houston, and then he got traded to Houston. You had to know this wasn't going to go well. So if Melo's not showing up for practice, regardless of how unprofessional that is, I can understand it. You've never heard this story about him from anybody, any other teammates, any other coaches anywhere. Like D'Antoni, I've never been a fan of D'Antoni, even when he was in Phoenix. But he's done a lot to try to shit on Melo and create a narrative around him that he's not a team player.
I would say this though, this on the Redeem Team documentary, when everybody else was getting up with Kobe, Melo was like, "Nah, you know what? I'm not showing up that early." That's been his attitude his whole career, and that's why he's sitting at home.
And he's a top 10 all time.
He's the top.
Let's
right. He's the leading scorer in Olympic history men's basketball. Like this is not even like.
Yeah, let's not disrespect Melo.
Right. We didn't say like Michael Redd was like, I'm not getting up in the morning.
Facts.
To me, Melo underachieved in his career. He underachieved. He had better dedication to the game. He would have been way better than what he was.
I generally don't think Melo was ever destined to really win in the NBA. He's our Dominique Wilkins.
He just got drafted by the wrong team. He get drafted by Detroit.
We might have a different story. Yep.
A whole different conversation.
That is
true.
He
should have stayed his butt in Denver.
I agree.
That's what he should have done.
La, man. Come on now.
Well, I know.
I
get
it.
Lala wanted to be in New York, so he took his butt to New York. He forced his way to New York.
La, man.
See how that worked out for him.
Yeah.
His apartment is just now on the market for like 15 mil in Soho. You're gonna get it too.
Yeah. No,
you're gonna get it.
Especially now these days.
Yeah, he definitely gonna get it.
So there was something kind of brought up in the undertones, for all of you guys out there that play 2K, NBA 2K. There was a recent NBA star that graced the cover of 2K, and just want to know if he was a notable person that should have been on the cover. So J. Cole was on the cover of 2K. Did y'all see that?
I was damn sure about to Google it. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I was like, what is he talking about? J. Cole.
What are you talking about?
So how do y'all feel about that, man? Because, J. Cole's been a definite topic up here. We'll let you guys start because MH is ready to jump on and let you know how he feels.
I mean, it's better him than Ben Simmons. So I'm with it.
Damn. MH is definitely ready to jump in. Either way. All right, so we'll get that. But really, but Ben Simmons, he had a hell of a game. Was it 2 nights ago?
And he already out 6 to 8 weeks. Get him out of here.
Damn.
He already out. Like, he had a good game and had to go, like, I got to sit now. Like, I got to put too many nose up.
Ben Simmons got more fouls than shot attempts. That is not okay, B.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real statistic.
What?
I didn't make
Y'all,
that up.
y'all want him to shoot more than KD and Kyrie?
You said what?
I said y'all want him to shoot more than KD and Kyrie.
Man,
It's not like
I didn't say that. We just need him to shoot.
Kyrie screamed at him, shoot it.
He did, and he
Right.
passed
Put
it
up
out.
the
I see
game.
it. Yep.
Kyrie says
I
a lot
missed
of
that
things.
one.
Kyrie says a lot of
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
All right,
But I mean, he's making
Yeah.
a play into the lane, gets it to Ben Simmons, who could have
Just
airballed
dunk it,
another
lay it
layup,
in.
and he just chose not to. He turned
Right.
around and passed
Is
it
there?
back out to the three.
Do we have any? Can we say he's a little rusty? Maybe he hasn't played like
Who?
Ben Simmons in a year.
It's
and
been
some
like
change.
this.
First of all,
No, he hasn't. He's been an all-star, right?
MH, a professional athlete who's had training camp and preseason is not going to be a little rusty.
But he had a back injury, right? Didn't he have surgery on his back?
No.
What you mean? That's
This
facts.
injury here, it was
He
here.
had a mind injury, but
No,
yeah,
Well, that's part of it, though.
That's 2 injuries.
You said 2.
Right?
We said I ain't the brightest, man. That's 2.
I mean,
like, he too busy.
Kawhi Leonard.
He
Kawhi Leonard not
too
playing
busy hanging
either.
with the Kardashians, so he
I'm
can't
over
focus
Kawhi.
on
Don't
basketball.
even bring up Kawhi. I'm
I
over
mean,
that
Kawhi
shit.
Leonard's not playing either. He
Kawhi,
been out 2 years.
Kawhi Leonard had been in the NBA for 8 seasons and then played a 1.5. That is terrible. But nah, J. Cole being on the cover, they're just trying to move units. Even though I don't know that J. Cole is necessarily the one that these young people are listening to. So that's a reach. But I will say this though, to the NBA's credit, when they do decide to tap into the hip hop culture, they usually go to people who are more respected, like for the craft. Like you just like they don't tap. Like if you're watching the NBA, you're not gonna hear like a radio version from like Future or whoever other these guys. They always tapping into like the really talented people who represent the culture. And
he's a professional baller.
I was saying you gonna mention his ball skills?
I just said talented people.
And
Stick
it's
to the craft.
also like if you play 2K like me, it's also just promoting like the season 2 package that's coming out. So that's all it is. Yeah. So it's not really just like, all right, he's on the cover. It's really just promoting season 2 of like, for season 1 was like all Jordan stuff. Season 2 is gonna be J. Cole stuff, and that's all it is.
Stick to your craft, J. Cole.
I mean, he's getting pushed. The Detroit was looking at him, right? Like, he played overseas.
No, they wasn't. For real?
They were about to they made a jersey for him, man. They had it on their social.
They made a jersey for him. Man, stop.
You said they made a jersey for him.
Hey, man, and he was killing it. What was he playing at the Afro League? And y'all sleeping.
Ball league.
He's a baller.
He can hoop. Nobody can say he can't hoop. He's
But
not
not
an NBA
NBA.
player.
He's not.
I mean, they're definitely trying to sell units.
He's not even the best rapper or basketball player of all time.
Regardless of what
you're biased because I know who you're gonna say. But
You already know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Shaq. I mean, shit.
Shaq don't count.
No, he's talking about
Shaq
P.
was a basketball player.
He talking about P.
We double platinum.
He definitely talking about P.
I know I got skills, man. I know I got skills, man. Shaq.
Do you want me to shoot it?
Yeah.
No. Dog it.
That boy the Diesel. Hey, yeah, this song with Biggie, man. It was all right.
Song with Biggie was all right though.
No. And it was a real one. No, he got
it was a real one.
No made up shits.
Yeah.
Double platinum.
All right. So this is where we're gonna lean on you a little bit about this one, Gene, but definitely want to hear everybody's kind of poise, man. So is BG coming home, man?
I don't know. I
That's
don't think
tough
so.
one, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think so, man. I think they, as long as that war in Ukraine is going on and we keep giving Ukraine money, she's not coming home.
Not for
What'd you say, B?
Achilles.
What'd you say, Brendan?
No, I never thought she was coming home anytime soon.
Oh, really?
I never did. I look at it, man, it's hard to say, man, but look at how we treat deals like in sports. And you want to trade one player for another. If you're looking at another dude who knows where weapons are in Russia, he knows like places that Americans have never been in their life. That's who we have in captivity. And if the people making trades are looking at it like, is she worth giving up that level of intel? Is she equivalent intel to that? I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm not saying that.
Like,
and that's how they are looking at it. Like,
Mhm.
I'm trading Michael Jordan for, I don't know, Don Mikowski. Like, that is how they're looking at making these. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm being serious.
I'm with you.
Like, we have real criminals who can start nuclear wars.
Like the dude name is the Merchant of Death.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what we had. That's what they want. They want to trade the Merchant of Death for Brittany Griner.
And they're like, you play
like
basketball?
that's what they want. That's the only thing they want.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at it from an American standpoint. You got to look like, one, they're not going to do it while the elections are going on, about to come up.
Mhm.
Everybody get out and vote. I was like, once the elections pass, they might revisit it and do something. But right now with the elections going on, like, I don't think anybody's going to really do nothing because they're like, we got to win these elections. And if we trade the Merchant of Death for Brittany Griner right now, we're going to lose every election across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it's not an equal trade. They don't value it.
It's not everybody looking at it as not an equal trade. Like,
But Russia knows what they're doing. Like they didn't want to give up this. They did this to prove a point, and they also did it to, as if we needed any more divisiveness in this country, to kind of divide us on multiple levels and platforms. Because yes, we're having an intelligent discussion about this, but the tons of ignorance that I've seen come across my timeline that have nothing to do with what's actually going on is absurd, and it plays right into the hands of what they wanted. It's like, we're not sending her back, and y'all gonna be sitting here arguing over dumb shit like, why aren't WNBA players making as much as NBA players, and why don't they just go and get her? And they're not gonna get her because she's a black lesbian woman. And it's just like, no, fam, this shit is bigger than all of it, anything you could possibly imagine.
Yep.
I absolutely agree.
War stuff like this is not like it's gone bigger than, you know.
And I think
absolutely.
I think the American media has contributed to it too. Because I remember in the early days, it was like, hey, don't, like, the perception I got was, don't hype it up too much, make her super important. Like, she's viable. Now Rich, like, oh, that's what you care about?
Mm-hmm.
Give us her. Like, and somebody made the dumbass response. If it was LeBron, he would be home. Like,
right?
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
Man,
he like, got it. Yep.
No, heck no. We want the Merchant of Death. All we want to say we won World War II. Everything they want all of it.
Like, reverse history.
Like, they want to reverse history. they want to bring the USSR back. Like, seriously. Like, they are not playing. Like,
they're really not.
And that's my point. That was all part of their plan, for people to say dumb shit like that. If that were LeBron,
yep.
If that were LeBron, his ass would be in jail. That's it.
Yeah, LeBron would still be over there.
Yeah.
Question.
Sure would.
Now, if the last president was still president, how do you think that changes things?
Oh, she would have been back.
She would have been. I agree.
She would
have been back, and we would have been in World War III.
Yeah,
and he would have been like, even trade. Like,
yeah,
that's what y'all wanted.
Yeah, he definitely would have gave up the Merchant of Death. He'd be like, all right, let's go make them look good.
Plus some extra draft picks.
Yeah. He'd have gave up all of it just to say he did something.
Yeah,
first rounders.
Yeah, he would have gave up everything.
Cash considerations, whoever.
All right, so see if I want to jump here next. All right, so let's do a little college football. We don't touch that a lot, man. And there's a couple things I want to touch on college football. One, they're expanding the playoffs, which I'm pretty sure large majority of people on here are like, Ben should have done that. They're kind of playing with the date of when it's actually going to go into effect, but they've already said, like, it's a done deal. We're going to expand the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that? And when do you think they're actually going to the college football series, when they're going to expand it or put that into play?
I'm hyped for it personally.
Yeah,
I'm overseeing. I'm overseeing. First of all, I'm a Texas. I'm an avid Texas fan. Longhorns all the way. Fuck any other Texas team personally. But I hate Bama. I'm so over Bama. I've been heartbroken by Bama. It was 2010. I'm over it. I've hated Bama.
You love that Tennessee game. Then,
oh yeah, Who Vols. Yep, absolutely. Go Vols. I've hated Bama with a deep passion for a decade plus. So I'm overseeing them. I have friends that are, bandwagon Bama fans that have never been to Bama in their life, and they're like, "Roll Tide." No, why are we doing this? Stop it. Absolutely not. So I'm hyped for it. It's been a really good college season so far. There's been a lot of big upsets, and I can't believe Tennessee's undefeated. I can't believe TCU's undefeated. Like, it's crazy to me. And Texas has Kansas State and then TCU. Fuck, it's a wrap, bro.
And last couple of weeks been like upset city.
Yeah, definitely. They've been good games, really good games. I'm hyped. But yeah, I would hope that the playoffs go into effect this season, but I think it'll be next.
I'm one of the people who gets the expansion, and the reason why, because the good teams are already getting blown out. Like, think about it, in the semis, all those teams getting blown out every time, every year, getting beat by 30 in the semis. So expanding it out, like, what is really going to do? Just get more teams blown out?
Well, I think you get that Cinderella. You still have that Cinderella where they make it to the ball, right? Like, so whether or not they make it to the end, it's just, it's that. Well, one, MH knows it's the money, right? Like,
yeah, it's definitely the money. Definitely the money.
End all be all, right? That gives you another opportunity to have another game, more TV, more commercials. But hey, like they're attempting to create that Sweet 16, that that magical moment kind of shit where hopefully one of these years, one of these underdogs knock someone, but that's not basketball, and football is totally different. But I mean, they can still kind of put that kind of hope out there, right? That's one of the things I think, I guess.
Yeah. I think it eventually will change once they get the official date of Texas and Oklahoma moving to the SEC. Then once that shift happens, and then USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, once those happen, then they'll roll it out. So, I mean, Texas and Oklahoma have been trying to get out of the Big 12 deal early, but nobody will let them. Like, none of the other teams will vote yes. So they just stuck there until they can just leave on their own.
What do you think is going to happen with the are we going to go to the Big Four? Is it going to stay? Because, I mean, a lot of these teams are looking to, what's going to happen to the Mountain West Conference, right? Like, what's going to happen to some of these other conferences?
Yeah, if I was them, I would combine with some of these other conferences. If I was them, I would combine with them. Well, American losing all their teams. Like, all those other teams are refilling with other schools. So that's another issue you're going to run into. So it's really just waiting till all of it just settles. Like, all right, all the movement that happened. To me, I do not like UCLA and USC in the Big Ten. It makes no sense. Travel-wise, it makes no sense. It's like you're playing everybody on the East Coast. Like, you're going all the way to Midwest country just to have games. Like, stay in the Pac-12.
I mean, they're spreading, though. I mean, that's the kind of like the goal to be like coast to coast.
Right. But I mean, but like, if you look at the SEC picking up Texas and Oklahoma, it makes sense. Like, all of them are right there. They all in the Bible Belt. Every single one of those teams.
That is true.
UCLA, USC, for what? Like, you're going to go there and Ohio State is only like one good team there. Ohio State and maybe Penn State.
Whoa.
Maybe. Penn State show up every –
Watch Illinois.
He said,
Illinois, we're going to shock the world. They're going to shock the world.
Cricket.
They're going to shock again.
You know what? I'm not a big let me say I'm not an avid like college football watcher, but I find it interesting that there's just the sport of football in general, because it's so physical, because it's so taxing and so violent, right? They play the least amount of games in any professional sport that we have, right? And just or any sport in general. And for the NFL, it works because like you have to watch every game. It's such a short season. Every game counts and all this type of stuff. But they're dealing with far less teams, and that doesn't work for college. And because there's so many teams, and now that they're expanding, to your point, EJ, I think it just seems like they're trying to catch up to the popularity of college basketball. Like March Madness is a thing. When that comes, there's advertisements everywhere. There's office pools. all this stuff. I have friends that watch, college football. I've never heard of anybody entering an office pool for college football, like ever. Like the popularity of it is just not there. And I think aside from the money, well, not aside from the money being the carrot in front of the horse, what they're really trying to do is just increase the popularity of it. And if teams have to now play for a championship, as opposed to some, a council of Oz's behind the curtain deciding who's number one or number two, it just adds more popularity to the sport.
I wouldn't say that there's a big difference between like the football and basketball, college or collegiate sports, like popularity wise. Personally, I think that college football is more popular than college basketball. But you hear more about college basketball, especially when it comes down to March Madness, because there's not a big tournament, right, for college football. Like you said, you have the people behind the curtain that are judging the NCAA conference or the championship game, and then you have basically bowl games are now being created and given out like damn consolation trophies. Like, oh, here's the Tostitos Bowl, you can have that, or here's the Tostitos pizza. We're dropping this new pizza roll, so pizza roll bowl, like that's
right.
They're creating more and more bowl games, which I mean it makes sense because there are more and more good teams, but I think because there's not a big championship, there's not a big tournament of 30 teams going into the final battle. That's why that you hear more about basketball than football, because I mean it makes sense. The tournament gets everybody wrapped into it because you have those Cinderella stories, you have the underdogs, you have this, that, and you have upsets. But that's my opinion.
To your point, E, I think it's pretty regional too. You live in Texas, so
Yeah.
I think football means a little bit more than basketball.
Oh yeah,
So-
football's like church out here.
Right. So, I lived in Alabama for a few years and I don't even know what March Madness was, right? But I knew what recruit was coming 6 years from now to Auburn, right? So like it's kind of regionally based. And then I think like where the I don't know if it's a difference, but college football, at least players have to be, within the universities. I know they're transferring a lot now, but they got to be there 3 years, right? So you get to kind of know players within a program, kind of, now that people are transferring, but you kind of get to know them within a program. Whereas in basketball, it's just one and dones. It's the Dukes that are all one. Duke and Kentucky's all one and done players versus Alcorn State that has probably 10 seniors on their team. And I think that's where the mismatches or the upsets come. And that's what makes March Madness March Madness. But you won't get that in football if Northern Colorado has 22 seniors and Alabama has 22 seniors. There's no matchup.
Well, we're getting that with Tennessee. Tennessee is old as hell. That roster is old. Like they got a bunch of 23, 25-year-olds on their team.
They got 25 red shirts.
Yeah.
But they still at Tennessee though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're not at
but they still old. That's
Montana.
an old team. Like
Right.
that team can play in the NFL. They all old. Like,
And then BYU. Come on, them motherfuckers up there at 30.
They got families.
When I compare basketball to football, I get the sense in college basketball, I find more true basketball fans. And when I look at football, I tend to see more regional school fans. Like if you're in Alabama, you're all in on Alabama. You don't really watch or pay attention to anybody else in the country. In Texas, you're all in on the Texas schools. And it looks like that during the games as well. But when I know people that watch basketball, like they're really following players, they're really following where these guys are going next. And they seem to they can draw on that during March Madness a lot better than any of the bowl seasons in football.
Can I say something about March Madness that I hate the most?
Say it with your chest, man. What you
A
got?
couple of things. For one, let's switch the foul rules in March Madness. I'm so tired of watching a Sweet 16 matchup where the best player is in foul trouble because he has 2 fouls. He got to sit the whole first half, and they foul out with 5 fouls. Go ahead and switch that up. Get the 6 fouls, whatever the case is. Like, and another thing, all the upsets are cute first weekend, right? Louisville lost to this team, right? Whatever. Kentucky lost to them. And then we get to the Final Four, and I still got to see this random team in the Final Four.
You ain't never seen no random team in the Final Four.
George Mason was in the Final Four with Russell Athletic warm-ups. He could have easily had a Duke and Kentucky in there. All right, I'm done.
George Mason. Yeah.
I do remember George Mason.
No stars.
I do remember the George Mason appearance.
George Mason and Butler.
Yeah.
But look, man, teams gotta do better. At the end of the day, teams gotta do better. You gotta win those games. Upsets happen because you don't take your team seriously. That's it.
Hey, look, since we talk about college football, I'll just know this: when July hits on their PS5 and their college football come back, I'm disappearing for a while.
All right, I'm gonna jump back. I'm gonna jump back into that, man. I do want to jump over to, we gotta give credit and kind of get into this HBCU thing, man, and just to have Prime. Yes, HU. I see you rocking, man. So now that I got two of you guys, I'm going to jump into one of the other things too. But let's start off with what Prime is still doing, man. Like to have game day at the freaking, at the SWAC, and who's SWAC?
Who's SWAC?
Who's SWAC? But to have him there, man, that's just good business, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mr. Gene, you got your school was represented at that game on the TV as well.
Yeah, we got smacked. It's good. That's a whole other subject that I fight with my other Southernites in our group chat. Like we talk about certain stuff. Like I don't like Dooley. Like I don't like the head coach. Like why do y'all get somebody that's old school? But that's them. We'll deal with it. But I love it, man. Like I love what Deion is doing. Like I hope he stays.
I was going to ask. Do you think he's all right? His son's gone?
I think about Deion is Deion.
Okay.
Deion is being Deion makes me think he's going to leave.
Okay.
Because that's Deion.
I got buddies who think the same thing. They're not sure if he's really in it.
I want him to stay. I look at it this way. People might not remember this, but when Bobby Bowden took over Florida State was not a football school. When Coach K took over Duke was not a basketball school. He made them into what they made them to what they were. Right. I was like, if he keeps going in Jackson already looking at building a stadium, like for Jackson State football. Like if he stay there, that's him for life. He's good for life. Like he won't have to do nothing. And to me, if he go to a bigger school or Auburn, he gonna have to do way more work than he really want to do. Because that's gonna be a lot of work. That's not gonna be easy. So. Yeah, I hope he do, man. He's doing a great job. I love it. And by the way, Southern already had a game day before that, Bayou Classic 05. So it wasn't the first. Yeah, it wasn't the first. But no, but it was good. It was good to see them. They should do an HBCU every year. They should go to an HBCU campus every year. Just on game day. Just go.
I think what Prime is being a leader right now in this context, and the light that he's shining on HBCU athletics. Let's be specific. HBCU athletics is doing wonders in all the sports, not just football. Like now, like HBCUs are getting ranked basketball players and showing up, and ranked tennis players and ranked everything. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm so happy that he's doing it, and I genuinely think he'll stay there for as long as whatever they agreed upon to get specifically for Jackson State. Like you said, them building a new stadium, or I'm sure there were certain things that they had in the plans that leaned on him being there for this to happen. So I think he'll be there for as long as that happens. I think it's super dope. I mean, you see, Howard, my school, we just got the Jordan Brand contract for 20 years. Like, I don't even think Nike or Jordan Brand wouldn't be looking at Howard or any HBCU to partner with if it wasn't for what Prime is doing. So,
can I ask y'all something about that? Do y'all think we just talk about conferences and how schools are moving and changing? Do you think teams from the SWAC would ever move to one of those Power Fives, or it's just staying how it is?
I think they're just gonna build a super conference. I think it's gonna be a HBCU super conference, and SWAC already starting when they brought in FAMU, BCU. Now they looking at Tennessee State and South Carolina State, bring them in to just make a super conference. I think they're gonna do that. But if Deion decides to stay at Jackson State, I can see a situation where you're like, if the rest of the SWAC is not trying to rise up and follow,
right,
and get better, he gonna be like, all right,
Exactly.
Jackson State gonna have to leave. Like Jackson State gonna have to try to look at something else.
It's always, and also it's interesting because and we talked about things being regional. So like in the South, right? Well, the South, when it comes to HBCU, Southern schools are just more superior than those who are like above the Mason-Dixon. Their recruitment, they're plucking them from right in their own backyards. I just don't know that, like, I know we had in the MEAC, there's a couple of schools that left. I know Hampton left, a couple other schools, but Hampton's always had a decent basketball team. Their football team wasn't,
they be putting guys out. Whew.
Yeah, so I think it's just interesting. In the South, again, the athletic programs are so much more dominant. Grambling was like the leader for so many years, right? And schools like Howard or Morgan State or Lincoln, that's just not, they have teams that play in these conferences. They're not going to make the move. So I think to this point, I think there'll be like one like super HBCU conference, and everybody else will kind of just stay where they at.
I think Deion's on the cusp of like a big disruption if he's committed. I don't know if he is or not. Meaning after his sons graduate or whatever, if he's going to stay, because there's a dynamic that's happening across sports where you're starting to see Black families and athletes thinking about HBCUs in a much different way. And I think what gets them over the hump is when you start seeing Deion get players into the NFL.
Yeah.
The equivalent of a school, Black school that gets players into the NBA. If he's able to do that, I can't tell you how impactful it is if he's competing on the recruitment trail between Jackson State and Alabama, when you have a bruh walk into a Black family and tell a story about getting their children into HBCUs or getting them into the league, and they have a rapport versus, I don't know, Nick Saban or some other white dude who's not part of the fam, who's not from the culture. Like, I think it's a big shift, and you're only starting to see it in basketball, and I think basketball has more visibility. But
my biggest thing is, like, I tell people all the time, because like Texas high school football, I know a lot of coaches out there. I have family that's coaches at high schools and things like that, and I tell them, like, what happens is they do deals with these other schools, like a Sam Houston State and all them. They'll cut a deal with them, like, I'm gonna send my player to you type deal. And that's what happened during, like, HBCUs used to have to get a lot of talent. Then that started happening. Then they stopped getting talent. But the biggest issue now is, like, we got to be able to do it as across the board with the SWAC. And that's what I be trying to push on certain people. Like, I still text the AD at Southern, like, hey, you need to be doing this. Like, you need to change this up, because they still stuck in their ways. That's why I'm glad Deion came, because Deion is like, he thinks forward, he thinks future. Like, all right, let's make this happen. Let's do this. The brand is there. Like, people don't like, we the culture. Like, we are the culture. And I was like, you let these kids like do a recruiting trip during homecoming weekend? Like, I mean, I'm sold.
For real.
Sign me up.
For real.
So we called this one the homecoming, man. So talk to us about the homecoming experience, man. I think you both just have been renewed, fresh spirit.
I just recovered this week. The homecoming was 2 weekends ago. Man, it's really tough to describe. Right. You kind of just you got to be there. You have to be there to experience it. And even if you experience it as someone who didn't graduate from HBCU, or at least if you didn't graduate from HBCU, the experience you're going to walk away with is amazing, but you're still not going to have the same experience that we have as alumni. So it's just really difficult to explain to you what it's like. The best thing I can tell you is that it is a family reunion. Yeah. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a family reunion. And if you're not a part of the family, you're just on the outside looking in, like this looks cool, but you're never going to be, in it.
It's never going to be. Yeah, it's never going to be it. Like it's just an experience because I tell you, I say the difference between yours, the PWI and the HBCU. I still know my professors. Like I still can talk to my professors to this day. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How your family doing? They still remember faces. Like we wasn't just thrown into a big classroom with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like all our classrooms was perfect size. Professors knew who we were, and it's like going home. It was like we looked at them, our professors, like parents. Like they look, man. Listen, my professor used to get on me so much. Like I messed up on one of my grades or something. She knew I was just fluffing around and messing around, and literally I was in my dorm. I was chilling. She blew my phone up. It's like, Mr. Tenor, come to my office. Like, I'm in my dorm. I'm chilling in bed. Like, you need to come to my office right now. We're not gonna have this. Come to my office.
They care.
I was like, yeah, and man, they cared. Like, they really cared about you. They cared about your well-being. They cared about your life. They cared what you was doing. And I was like, even the people that you went to school with, like, that's like your family for life. Like,
and the favors always return. We had a situation maybe a year or two. It was I think it was right before the pandemic. It was about 2019. She was one of the more popular and favorite guidance counselors in the School of Communications. And she always did an amazing job. And the school decided for whatever reason, they just wanted to fire her. It wasn't on some like whatever, like they just let her go. And the entire student body, undergrad from the School of C and alumni, like just rallied around her and got her job back. And was just like, yo, y'all are bugging. Like it's just really, it's a family. And and what's interesting is that like he went to Southern, right? And I went to HBCU. I went to Howard, and we share the same experiences. And we didn't know each other, but that's our bond, right? Like we know, like if you go to HBCU, like the A building is going to make you a man or woman, because the A building is going to make life hell for you. But we all had to go through that and go through that aging, if you will. And now when we leave, we understand that no doesn't mean no in a professional setting. Not in a
thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
In a business setting, you can, what I'm saying, you're not going to just take the no as the final answer. You're going to work that much harder because there's a yes somewhere in there. These are things you learn from being at HBCUs. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was going to Howard, hands down. Yeah. And homecoming is a reminder of that every time you go back.
So, B, did your brother give you reports from his first homecoming? Brennan?
Who?
B, your brother give you any reports from first homecoming?
He had a ball. Yeah, he ain't been sober too much since, but yeah. So I'm like, yo, I definitely like to go. My family's from Greensboro, so I always go to GHO, but I've never been to Howard's, and that's definitely on the list for sure.
Wait, time out. Y'all, that's what y'all really call it, GHO?
Oh shit!
Let's find out when.
Hold on. My
exhausted.
Exhausted.
I'm tired, boss.
Exhausted. I'm tired, boss. Hey, that question just burnt him out.
I was definitely gonna get him get at him on that. He just literally referred to A&T homecoming as GHO, and you don't know GHO is greatest homecoming of all time. Greatest homecoming ever. And the fact that they just refer to it as that is insulting. Like, just say it was their homecoming. Like, just say that.
I know it hurts. Yep.
I know it hurts.
Yep, I get it. But yeah, so no, I haven't been to Howard's, but I definitely want to go. And I've been, I do look at Howard as one of the schools that can be the pinnacle for like moving beyond just the HBCU culture. Like her level, like when you start talking about schools that are in the next tier, I see Howard definitely be a representative of that. Vice president from there, starting to get.
The problem, but here's the issue I have with that. Like, why isn't it already? And this is not from a bias standpoint. Because I could have said that before I even stepped foot on the campus. Like when you really look at the alumni from Ozzie Davis, Ruby D, Thurgood Marshall, Charles Houston. They did the black dog, white dog test on that campus.
Yep.
You know, the Allen sisters, Debbie and Felicia Richard. Like the list goes on and on from political figures, a couple of the founders of the Black Panther Party, Howard, you know what I'm saying? So it should already be there. Yep. I understand from the whole HBCU guys, the branding of Howard is what kind of has it kind of out here. But all HBCUs are putting out like tremendously high quality, like graduates that change the world. And
so let me.
It comes down to money. It comes down to these.
Well, I was going to ask even before that, like what happened, right? Because like that's historical, right? Like what happened to where, that lost that kind of context, from what we were seeing on the Cosby Show and people representing it to it, like, dipping down to like where now it's being resurfaced, right? Because like go ahead.
I would say it hasn't dipped down. It's just we're not highlighting it.
Yeah,
that's the issue. It's not being highlighted. Like even by the schools, it's not being highlighted.
Yeah.
So is that a drop though? Like if it's not being talked about, right?
I think on a to your point, EJ, I think from a like a general like popular like visibility, yes, we don't have a different world. The different worlds in the Cosby shows have been replaced with the Love and Hip Hops and all this type of shit. So yes, to that point. However, what has always kept HBCUs thriving is the pride that comes out of the graduates. So like when you leave, like all of it, like everybody that got kids, their kids is going to HBCUs. So I think the culture of it is still thriving and the awareness of it as well. I just think that it's no longer like a different world did its job.
Right.
And I think that's what I'm getting at, right? Like, no, that you said a statement earlier, right? Like when we were talking about NBAs, like we are the culture. Maybe it was Gina said it, like we are the culture. Mm-hmm. So that's never going to change, and that is always there. But I'm just saying, it seems like that that had an undertone that it never kind of populated or resurfaced or just kind of
Well, I think Prime has a large part to do with that. I feel like it seems like we're bouncing back or we're coming back. It's like, nah, we've been here the whole time. It's just now nobody's ever talked about HBCUs in the context of athleticism outside of probably Grambling, to be realistic. And we have like we have Hall of Famers that have come out of HBCUs. You had Earl of Pearl Monroe, Ben Wallace,
Jerry Rice.
Oakland's not a Hall of Famer. But they're just what's the dude? Didn't the dude that won the Super Bowl go to Grambling? The dude that won for the Redskins.
Yes.
Williams.
Doug Williams,
Right, but we've never been spoken about in that context, and just Prime put the focus on athletic side. So now it looks like we're back, but we've always been there.
Yeah, and then if you hear from Prime will tell you, say what he's doing, he's putting the spotlight back.
That's right.
On HBCU. It's like that's what he's doing. He's putting the spotlight back. He say it's there. It's just nobody's been paying attention to it. Like, because you got to think about it. When it comes to judges, African American judges, 80% come from HBCUs.
Yep.
Lawyers, 80% come from HBCUs. Doctors, it's all HBCU people.
Yep.
It's all of us. Like we're the big majority of these high profile positions. But like we was talking about this when I was at Southern last week. I was like, we don't do a good job highlighting the people at our school. Like just with me in my class alone, I have 3 judges, 2 state senators, U.S. senator, like just in my class.
Right.
And I was like, man, we're doing a bad job of highlighting them. Like,
and I would take it a step further. I contend that it wasn't that great during the Cosby and different world years. It was great in our community. That was all we watched. But when you look at the population of the country and a lot of folks did not know what Howard University or HBCU was. They saw it. They saw him wearing the gear and all of that. Oh, that's cool. That's nice. But I don't think you get to the next level till you start getting recognition, visibility, branding, funding, all of that other stuff. And I think that happens a lot through sports. And even when Gene was just talking, he's talking about industries that people don't follow. they make a shitload of money. That's
Right.
government. Like people watch Google, Facebook, YouTube. Like that's what you see plastered on every commercial. You start seeing these schools get. You talked about it earlier with football and with the bowl games. Like what brand do they see up there? Now you know that money's going to that school. Like it doesn't come to us. And I think now when you start getting Prime and other people repping their school and you start seeing that talent go in places where young people want to be, they start bringing more recognition. They're in social, they're in all of these at the forefront of everything I see when I turn on my device. Like you don't get that in, oh, this guy went to go be some lawyer, some judge in some county that I don't watch politics. I don't watch like my local elections. Like, yeah, that's where we are and we're very impactful, but it's not enough to change the hearts and minds of 350 million Americans who are turn on their TV and see ABC and see these top 30 schools. Like, I think Howard has an opportunity to start cracking into that list where people are like, oh shit, who is that?
Who are there any HBCUs in Texas?
Yeah, Prairie View is one of the Texas Southern.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, the majority of HBCUs are in the South. There are none on the West Coast. And like I said, then there's the handful that's kind of like right above the Mason-Dixon line, which is your Hamptons, your Howards, your Morgans, your Dell States.
We got
Shit, Prairie View Grambling like the OG Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
That shit's growing.
Yeah, you were talking about NBA. Who is Robert Covington? I think is one other player in the NBA today. That's from HBCU.
Right.
That's playing right now.
And also to be honest, what actually helped, just as far as like when you look back at the popularity of HBCUs in from an entertainment standpoint, right? So the Cosby Show and A Different World did their part, but hip hop played a huge part in the rise in the popularity of HBCUs because yes, they were wearing the paraphernalia like in their videos and all this type of stuff. But a lot of these artists came from HBCUs. Like Das EFX went to V State.
Yep.
Right. One of I can't remember what school Hot Dog went to, but Chubb Rock's like right hand man Hot Dog is like a Q. So you would look at all these videos and you would just see fraternities and sororities. Right. Like like hip hop played a huge part of it, and even now you have quite a few, like David Banner.
Yeah, Banner was SGA president at Southern.
Right.
So
you know what I mean? Right. So like there was pride in that. And then you get somebody like Puff, right, with Bad Boy, and pretty much his entire like staff and production team came from like Howard. All his executives, everybody came. And then you start hearing about HBCUs and in songs and people. It's just,
let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you. You're talking about what came out of Howard, what came out of Hampton or A&T or whatever. Pick your HBCU of choice. How were they funneling money back to those HBCUs? I always hear when they come out of it. What I don't hear is like besides a few like that's what makes these schools grow. Not because I know this dude came from there. That motherfucker gave money back.
I'll give you the short of it. It went to a little period where like we started getting like bad presidents, and we didn't know. Like we wanted to know where our money was going. Like we give back money. Like Southern's doing a good job now. It's like a Love You Blue campaign. They actually let you know, like when you donate, you can pick where you want to put the money into. But it was a big period where nobody knew where the money was going, and it would cause a bunch of issues. Some presidents got removed. It was a big little. It was like right after a different world, like right after like 2004. Like it went through this little phase where people didn't want to give back because they didn't know where the money was going to. And then you start hearing about all these celebrities who was trying to get HBCUs. And once they asked the school, like, where's this money going to? And the school couldn't give an answer, the celebrity wouldn't give the money. So there's a lot of that going on. So it went through like this whole little phase. And now that last big group from like 2000 to 04 is starting to get in position, they're in that position of power, they have money now. Now they're like, all right, no, we're going to put the people we want in charge. We want the presidents we want in. And
I also feel like from the conversations I've had with other friends that graduate from other HBCUs, I think the lesser popular ones have a better like endowment kind of situation and a better situation where the those alumni give back. Mainly, it could be to a point where they might just need a little more, and those people who are alumni understand that.
Mhm.
And just maybe because of the dynamic of those schools, they might be a tad more selfless than those who are part of like more popular ones
Mhm.
that seem like they're going to get funds anyway because of the branding of the school. Doesn't make it okay, but I think that's part of it.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't speak to really what's going on. I know we had the same situation where Howard folks was mishandling the church's money.
Isn't that what happened to Grambling? Isn't that what happened with Grambling with the football team, and they had to shut down the program?
Yeah, it was a lot of it. It was going around all around.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. But we talk about it often. I know me and my classmates talk about it often about just making sure that we do more to give back. It needs to be done because no matter how popular things are looking or whatever, like
the business has to be the business part of it, right?
Yeah.
No,
And
that's what's up.
it's like we get into that generation where we're like, all right, now we can make the calls. Like if we don't like AD, we the powerful ones. We can broker together and get him out of there, get the AD we want in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or we don't like the coach situation, we can get the people in charge, like the people that we want, that we feel will do a great job for the university.
That's good, man, and that's what it's going to take, man. So, like I said, I do believe it's a renaissance. That's what I kind of call it when MH and I, have different guests on here. We have a lot of different guests that are from HBCU, so that's really good. All right, so I'm gonna do something that MH did to me when we had a show going, and we were wrapping up a show. The topic was preseason in the NFL, and at that time, Lil EP's his boy Kanye decided to do something. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on Kanye.
You say your boy.
MH, you want to start off? Has your stance changed from how we ended our show?
Well, I don't remember what my stance was, honestly.
I think your overall take on what you think about like people like AB and Kanye, but like,
I mean, I think a lot of it is whatever Kanye's perceived brand is this kind of shock thing going against the wave. I think there's some points to that. And I also think, I mean, without getting too far into it, like, it's just kind of interesting. Dude's been offending people for a long time and now he gets canceled. So I'll leave it at that when it comes to Kanye.
It's definitely crazy that the man that said slavery was a choice that didn't get canceled then, and he makes some anti-Semitic comments, and now he's getting canceled. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. That's not my boy. I don't rock with Kanye like that. Never have personally. I like his music, but after the slavery was a choice, I had to kind of. After he dropped that song with Lil Pump, I was like, it's catchy, but I'm gonna go ahead and just slowly start to back away from that situation.
He's gonna phase that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's not me. I got friends that still ride. Like it's hard for them, because one of my closest friends, he is Kanye lover, and he always has been. And I'm like, man, I took a clip of that White Lives Matter post. I said, hey, I just hit him with the eyes. He said, yeah, it's getting real hard out here. His music's good. That's about it at this point. Yeah,
I as a DJ, about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was very difficult. Like I was at a gig and I consciously and very intentionally did not play one Kanye record. And that is very hard to do. Like very hard.
Boy got hits.
It's not just hits. It's like he got joints that I use to like transition, like all this. And I was like, I can't do it. And it's very much the principle of it all. And I was one of the people who like all the wild shit he was doing. Like I was just like, oh, this shit fire though. Let me play that. And then I just had to take a stand. I did the same thing even before the R. Kelly documentary ever came out. Like I had decided, like I'm just not playing his shit. And then with Kanye, I had to kind of take a stand too. And it wasn't even. What's bothering me about this whole thing is the narrative, right? Is that everything what he's saying was anti-Semitic. When you listen to him, he was kind of kicking a lot of truth. He just said it in a very bad way. But the fact that in the same interview before that, he said that George Floyd died from fentanyl, and nobody batted an eye. And I'm like,
his family batted an eye. They batted a whole lawsuit eye on that ass.
I batted an eye.
Right. But it was like, it's the same interview, and all anybody can say is about his comments that he said about the Jewish community. And I'm profoundly against like hate speech. But what he said has been said by Black entertainers for decades.
That part.
For decades they've been saying this. He's not saying anything new or that's not true. It's just how he says what he says, along with the fact that over the past, I don't know, 5 to 8 years, like you've been like, you know, you've made yourself this villain. So now it's not about the message, but it's the messenger. And to me, the most hurtful thing that he said was about George Floyd. Like,
right.
Fam, and
misinformation.
Not one business was like,
straight up.
Oh, Kanye,
Yeah.
we can't. No. It was like, all right, whatever. And then he was like, and then the Jews, and then they were, whoa. Like, but this is a representation of power. The Jewish community is powerful as shit.
Yep.
And they know it. And they use their power when necessary.
Now,
Black
is it
community
more?
with
That's
power.
okay.
You said what?
Well, that's what I was going to get on. Like, you know, like, so we can state that opinion, but what, you know, responsibility do we have? Right.
A lot.
So-
we don't take accountability for none of it.
Yeah. So for me, on my side of it, like I went out my way to publicly talk about Kanye. He's an idiot. I was like, hey, all his motives is based off of jealousy. It's all off of jealousy. Everything he's doing is off of jealousy. The situation with the George Floyd thing, I say the reason, and also with slavery is a choice. The reason he didn't get canceled in. Oh, I said the reason he didn't get canceled in. We all didn't. Nobody stuck together on it. As a race, we didn't cancel them together. Like we never came together. It was too split. So if we split, he was never gonna get canceled for anything he was saying about our race. One thing about the Jewish community, they're gonna stick together.
They're gonna stick
Like,
together.
And then like if you understand history and the way Kanye said it and what he said about Jews, that's the same thing Hitler used to say about them. And that was his reasoning for killing them. So that's why it came off as anti-Semitic, because the way he said it is the same way Hitler said it. So that's why it came off that way, and that's why he got canceled so fast. It's like, whoa. And then he went down on other interviews, doubled down, tripled down. I'm like, bro, let it go. I was like, when it comes to certain subjects, he's not articulate enough to convey his message.
Or sane enough.
And then he comes off as a jerk anyway. Like it's all off of jealousy. Just like the whole billionaire thing. He ended up getting himself in the Adidas deal. Also, he can say he was a billionaire, and he can text Drake, Jay-Z and them and say he was a billionaire. And he put this on Twitter. He said, when I'm a billionaire, I told him I'm richer than y'all. I'm a billionaire now, and I'm richer than y'all. It was all off of jealousy.
And I saw something. I'm sorry. I saw something. It was the funniest shit I had seen from Kanye in quite a while. It was like a text that he had screenshotted on Instagram from his from like his manager or something like that, and they were like, "Hey, by the way, the Adidas is done today. You own that, but Old Navy, the NDA doesn't expire until like January. Blah blah blah." It's like, just all lawyers speak on everybody that's dropping him, but he's like, "Man, I haven't fucked a what did he say? I haven't fucked a supermodel in over a month. Hashtag please send help." That was the caption to his Instagram post.
Wow.
Right. I was like, his whole MO is like it's all about jealousy and pride. Like, think about the interview you say. He always bring up, at one time I was the richest black man in America. I'm like, and then he apologized to George Floyd. I'm like, what? Like, come on, bro. Like, get out of here with that. Like, all this is nonsense. Like, you're doing it because it's an ego thing. It's all about his ego. It has nothing to do with us at all. Kanye don't care about no black people.
Dude is dangerous.
Like,
That's what I don't like.
No, he is very dangerous. He's very dangerous.
This is a crazy take.
He has a big following. That dude can misdirect.
I don't see
large set. He's not like no local dude that just has 1,000 followers. Like this dude can persuade our
like
young
Loki
generation. And
has a menace to the
ego.
public, bro.
First of all, if you can get an entire, like, you get millions of people to purchase homeless clothes.
Facts.
You are a powerful person. Like you are really like. Listen, I don't know how it is wherever you guys live. I live in New York City. Like walking by homeless people is nothing. Like that's just like we don't like people don't even see homeless people. And then you got everybody to go, yes, I'm gonna dress like a hobo. That should have been the first time we'd have like, you're right, Kanye. No one man should have all this power.
You're right.
How about the church? I mean, come on, all these
the church.
Yes.
It's the dressing up as a bush and stalking your wife for me. That's personally, but
yeah,
Kanye has done too many things to not
too much weird stuff, man.
So like if you go out and publicly threaten a man's life for fucking your baby mama, I mean, it is what it is. Like, get over it. But you're a billionaire, number one. You have 40 million followers on Instagram. You have a responsibility, whether you choose to accept it or not, to the youth of America. And just people in general to not be out here. Get over it. You're a grown-ass man.
He's a narcissist.
That's what he's, a narcissist.
Go out and play shitty football like Tom Brady, bro.
He's very narcissistic. And he's also, but I've always believed this. Kanye's never been of a healthy mind. Even before he became, I mean, like, if you watch stuff from him like early on, you could just tell that he wasn't always.
But he always had his rock.
Always.
Since his mom passed.
Yep.
And that was the trigger for him.
Yeah. To me, Kanye always been on the spectrum. Like he ain't like no, seriously. Like trust me. My mom was a special education teacher for 29 years. And Kanye remind me of like half her kids. Like seriously. Not like you thinking about it the wrong way. It's like different spectrums.
I know
Kanye is like different ways. Like the good doctor, bro.
It's just like different.
Diagram with the spectrum. The spectrum was in the spectrum. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And like Birdie said, like, and I've always said this too, like, and having to now sort of kind of be a caretaker to someone who is diagnosed as schizophrenic, like the doctors will tell you it's a trigger. Like most people. There's a lot of people who have whatever, ailment is dormant in them, and then something triggers it. It could be, the passing of somebody. It could be like, some sort of traumatic event, and then they just snap. And I think his mother dying was that snap, but he was already kind of
out of here.
He was already out of there.
He was already out there.
I mean, I'm gonna be on one too. Some other random dude tatting my kids' names on them. I'm gonna be on one too.
I mean,
yeah,
I get it, but like, I'm not out here. I'm not out here calling out the squad.
Somebody tap Maya's name on. Yeah, I'm gonna be on one.
But I mean, you out here tweeting a million fucking dollars. Let me know what a Pete is. No, sir.
Hey, I don't know.
That's a RICO case.
This is the same. Wait, this is the same dude. This is the same dude that stalked his now ex-wife while she was married to Chris Humphries, and then in a rap song threatened to have the man who's the minority owner of your team get you dropped from the team. Like he's not
well.
That's that dude's wife. Why are you out here attacking him?
Right.
Yeah. I don't get that dude that much clout, man. We can't, man. That dude's not healthy food.
Like I was like, we didn't check Kanye early enough, and if we were all paying for it. It's like nobody in the industry just slapped him across the head. Like nobody Will Smithed him. Like all them dudes around, nobody Will Smithed him one time. And I
saw a picture of a guy that's probably taking one of the biggest L's in history because he has a Kanye 2020 tattoo on his forearm. How's that working out for you? Like, are you gonna get that removed?
You think the fact that he was wrong bothers him, and that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong.
That's not
don't care about reading right or
You don't
wrong.
care about life, period. Actually, he's unhinged.
All right, man. So moving on, man. Want to kind of get to wrapping this up, unless you guys have something, man. We have to take a pause and talk about the champions here, man. So the Aces, are the WNBA champs, man. We haven't been on here to kind of talk about that. And then just like, it's big for the city, man. They brought the, first professional championship to Vegas. So that's definitely cool from our standpoint, since we're based here Las Vegas, and it's just kind of like definitely putting some momentum in the WNBA. So I don't know if you guys got to watch that. If you know it, I know some of us here are from Vegas, man, but just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Definitely big for the city. I got to watch one game, I think, and I mean, I'm excited for it, and I feel like it's just gonna be a bigger motivation for the rest of the teams in the area outside of the Raiders because they're dog shit. But
Oh,
jeez,
damn!
I mean, they just put up 0 over the weekend.
It was a tough weekend, man. Don't do our team like that, man.
Goose egg, couldn't be my Cowboys.
Oh
But,
gosh, the worst time to be when the Cowboy fans are doing good. They just come out a little different.
He said,
come out a little different.
Could be my Cowboys. Like we haven't watched them the last 20 years.
Hey, 50 points on the Bears. That's all I'm saying. You know, Cowboys looking good. But no, I'm happy for the Aces. I'm super happy for the Aces. I'm happy for Vegas. I think it's only a matter of time before I still think that the Oakland A's are going to move there, and they're going to get a basketball team probably in the next 6 years.
Well, sticking with the WNBA, it was leaked that they're looking at expansion, but they haven't kind of gone any further into that. So they talked about 2 expansion teams. So, yeah, I'm with you, young EP, is that looks like there's some momentum with the game and the viewership. So definitely excited to see that.
Big for the sport, for sure.
You know, towards the end, everything was up. Profit was up, but they still didn't make one, but it was up. Viewership was up. Attendance was up. Everything was up. But then when you go to their social media page or some social media pages of these teams, they still got 5,000 followers. Like I have 5,000 followers. But as far as the Aces, man, I attended the whole thing the whole way except for that last game, and it was pretty special. And what was even more better than not better, but was just as good as the game was the pregame and everything that they did. Like they did everything right, 100%. Like you couldn't be mad at any part of it. And it just became pure entertainment, like at that point. So that was real great. But even in my world or the people that I know, I can still tell you more people that didn't know than what did know. And that was rather disappointing.
Yeah. When it comes down to like social media, though, that's all on the team. Like you can't. I have a friend who owns a skunk, okay, and he's got, I think he has 1 million followers on TikTok.
I've seen
just posting
like
videos
that,
of his skunk. He just hit the
skunk has 1 million followers.
Yeah, he just had a video that hit 10 million views. A skunk.
Yeah, there's people that have cat
views.
pages and all type of stuff.
Yeah, wait. How do you own a skunk?
You can buy skunks without the
and it
land.
begins.
You can you degland them so they don't spray you. They still act like they spray you. They're actually really cute. They're adorable. They're just little badgers, but yeah, you can get them without a gland. But back to like the social media thing, like you can't like. You have to utilize every aspect of everything, right? And put the right people in place because in this day and age, there's no reason that these WNBA teams with 5K followers should only have 5K followers. I mean, get on a trend, make them motherfuckers dance. Do whatever you need to do.
Page is pretty popular now. It's actually a really great page.
Like, I mean, get on TikTok, bust out a trend.
I was like, thanks to Asia.
Dance for me, dance.
No.
There's like a video of a guy. He's like, it's a rapper, right?
I would say this now. Like after the finals, Asia went off, dog. Like her interviews when she was drunk,
for sure,
at the table, that stuff was like trending. Like
they need to clip that and continue to repost.
But the thing is, they need to show their personalities.
But what's interesting is that the players have more followers than the teams.
And that's always the case, though. Like even if you go, like they talked about this in like boot camps before, like the end of like. Steph has hella more followers than the Warriors do, and the Warriors have won like multiple championships, but Steph has more followers. So it's always that individual preference, right? Because people are getting away from the team or the corporation in a sense.
I think they're trending in the right direction, but I'm actually against the expansion for a few reasons.
Okay,
for maybe a year or two. I think it's too soon. I mean, you still haven't made a profit. And then you could count 9 different cities that had a team and folded miserably. And are we?
That's how we got our team.
right. Which has been the 2 other places before it even came here. Our team started in Utah before it went to San Antonio before it came here. So I just think right now, ride the wave and ride this momentum, and then maybe in a year or so, Possibly, but I think what we got right now is just working, and we literally for the first time have more competitive teams in the WNBA than we have non-competitive teams. There was literally 6 teams that could have won easily, 6.
So let me play devil's advocate on that, like, because that's a different take to hear. I get it, right? Because you talk about even in the NBA, right? There's some teams that are like not performing because of talent, and
Right.
they talk about they make this claim about small. I heard that EP. They talk about small market teams, which B can kind of give you a little dissertation on how that's fallacy, but. Don't you think that spreads the gospel? Because like some people, it's not until they step in shit that they, know shit exists. So like having those teams in those markets, because like, if you've never been to a game, you're not going to, travel out of your market to go see a game.
Right.
So I just that part, but I get what you're saying from the financial standpoint, right? But that's just the only, I guess, devil's advocate role that I'm playing with that.
But even I agree with that too, because and even in a new market, how long before the novelty wears off? Like, I agree with you. You put a team in Columbus, Ohio, which is where I want the team to be, only because it's definitely a sports city,
Right.
and they have other things to build upon there, and their downtown, which is where it would be. It's all, to me, it just works. But at the same time, I agree with you. How many people have never been to the game? Oh, hey, we got a new pro sports team. Let's go check it out. And because they're an expansion team, they're not very competitive. And then, that's the end of that.
Mhm.
Or,
I think it comes down to, I can agree with your statement if you're going to tell me the next 2 owners of an expansion team treat, behave, react, and invest in that team or lack thereof in the same way that every owner has.
No, not every owner. You don't like
just in general. And I don't mean
like
just for
Mark Davis.
WNBA. I just mean in general, if they are the same. As you start getting new owners into these teams, into these leagues that want to invest, pay, build up, hire the right people, hire the right folks within their organizations, commit to investing and bringing in partnerships and throw money behind it the same way that a lot of other developing leagues or teams do. Absolutely. You don't see this in soccer in the same way in other markets that you would argue have far less people there. So when people talk about markets, that used to be a thing 30, 40 years ago. Like, market doesn't matter as much given the global scale that we operate today, especially in the United States. And it's all about owners putting money behind these teams and saying, that's why I hope that Sarver, for example, doesn't bundle that package with the Suns and the Mercury.
Right.
Because I want representation in the ownership group in the WNBA.
Absolutely.
It's almost damn near impossible to buy into an NBA or NFL, MLB, even NHL team. But what's affordable for people who really care about the sport is WNBA. If once you bundle that, we're not in the game.
Right.
And I think we need more of us in the game at this level to say, there's more than 400 good women who play basketball who can play at a professional level. Don't tell me that.
And that's, I think, another big thing, right? Because you're talking about it's only 144.
Don't tell me that.
Like,
Don't tell me there's only 140.
There's a lot
women?
more than 144.
And we need women to actually watch the WNBA.
Yes.
Everybody I talk to is just us. Like, I watch.
Yeah.
Like, I see more dudes. Like, I talk to my homeboys. We watch.
And that is the most frustrating part. It's like women who don't watch a lick of like the WNBA. It's like, oh, it's a shame they're not getting paid. Is it like, when did you buy a ticket?
Right.
What game you go to?
I've never seen you in the Aces game.
What's your favorite team? Who's on that team? Like,
right.
It's just, I think women definitely need to invest more. I mean, because there's tons of women who watch the NBA. And to be honest, the actual gameplay in the WNBA is far better. Like, leaps and bounds far better than what's in the NBA. NBA game, I mean, male basketball in general, from the NBA all the way down, is absolutely trash to watch. It is horrendous. The quality of gameplay is at the worst I've ever seen. They have a lot of talent, but the game is terrible. One thing I would love to see, and I feel like when I bring this up, women in particular, women athletes feel insulted by it, but I'm just like, look, I'm just trying to give you the upper hand. I think the WNBA should drop the rim.
This was brought up on a. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We talked
serious.
about the last live. What's on
You
that
want to know why?
board?
You want to know why? You want to know why? Because the proof is in the pudding. People, particularly in America, are very much captivated by entertainment.
It's
Right?
America, Jack.
And part of entertainment is you know, a couple people getting dunked on. And if you got, and it's clearly it's not going to make everybody in the WNBA dunk, right? But you have a lot of players who, I think this last season or the season before was like the most dunks like they've ever had like in one season, right? You just open it up a little bit more to a different type of game with the same way that they approach it. I think that might help with the popularity.
But then you got to think about people are going to take it as a joke, in the sense of, oh, it's going to go back to the equality thing. In my opinion, it's going to go, oh well, women know good basketball, women short rim, and that's how I think Americans.
Wait, why did you become Asian?
Not Asian, just dumb. Like that's how I think that people are going to take it.
You just remove like
because people are stupid. That's how I think stupid fucking people are going to take it. But then you got to think about like, so, but when do you start lowering the rim, right? Is it high school? Is it junior high? Is it college? Like when do they drop from a 10-foot to a 9-foot? When are they going to have to make that change?
We're solving the wrong problem. Like the WNBA doesn't have a basketball problem.
Yeah, no.
It's not the rules of the game or how high the rim is or did they do a drop step? Did somebody dunk or not? Because I can tell you a bunch of sports that get a lot of followers. They got tag ball, t-ball, freaking pickleball, and hot dog eating contests. Get millions and millions of.
We got our boy Adrian on there. He's a professional cornhole player.
This is a matter of investing in the sport from a fan perspective, as you're talking about people showing up to watch virtually or in person, these brands putting money behind the sport as well and making sure that they're giving the same dollars to women's sports as they do all these other sports. We just talked about college football and all that other shit. Like that is what it comes down to. That's where the money is. It's not I
was like, I probably have more WNBA jerseys than most women.
Yeah.
I got the Stranger Things, Indiana. I got all this stuff. Like, if I see something that's dope, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna get that one.
And Mace just picked up.
That Chelsea Gray cold.
Tell me 3 sponsors that give $100 million. Like, tell me 3. Like, and they absolutely should because that's what they do in almost every other sport that doesn't generate revenue.
Because, like, think about this: when it comes to the World Cup, like the women were doing better than the men for years. Like, just ratings wise. TV ratings wise, the women were killing the men because they knew everybody knew the men sucked, but the women were real good. So everybody's watching the women. So it's there.
I will say that was probably only here though. Like I don't think there's a comparison like worldwide as far as, not to be a hater or anything like that. It's just soccer's my shit. The U.S. women's team is leaps and bounds better than the men's team. Maybe not this year. The men's team have a great team this year, but the women's team will always hold a special place in my heart because they captivated the entire world time after time and they dominated. They are the Golden State Warriors of World Cup soccer. But when it comes to like, England and like France, Belgium, Spain, you have Brazil, Argentina, you have like world-renowned talents that those women's teams are never going to hold a candle to, Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or David Beckham, Wayne Rooney. You have
they don't have to hold a candle; they hold their own.
No, true. But that's where that's the shitty point I'm trying to make. Is that
you don't have to be that. You do not have to be that to be successful.
Absolutely not. But I think
for LeBron, you can still be a very successful and paid players more than freaking $200,000 a year.
I think.
What if I told you guys though that literally Game 5 finals tickets for the WNBA were $10? They were and still didn't sell out. And some people got real smart and would go online and buy 10 tickets for $10 and put them on resale apps for $40 and $50, and there was not a market for it. You were just out of $100. Game 5 of the WNBA finals, and you can get in the building for $10, and it's not a sellout. In Game 2, I got a phone call from a person that was like, "Hey, I got 100 tickets. Help me get rid of them." literally, and that's the final. And
100 tickets. Shit.
yeah, and I know, yeah, we literally, I literally helped give away 300 tickets for game 2. We actually gave away 300, and 60 of those people didn't even show up for a free ticket. I'm like, and I'm telling people like, this is the WNBA finals. You guys, like, this is history. This is epic. And so many people.
Tickets was free, but Park is a motherfucker though.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking Nubia, fucking Nubia bitch.
Mark gonna
period.
hit you like 50.
And don't play on this. And don't play on the Sunday on the opening week of football.
Week of football.
NFL.
Bad
But that's the
scheduling.
thing as well with the WNBA. I think I've said it once before, and I'll continue to say it. I'll make a couple of points real quick, actually. I don't remember seeing one single WNBA finals commercial. I haven't seen anything outside of what we talk about. I don't
That's
see
what I'm
shit
talking
from the
about.
WNBA.
Yeah,
That's
Nothing.
what I'm-
That would be. I see
that's
more for the
investment from the brand,
women's
like,
March Madness
correct.
this year,
That's
especially.
correct.
But
Yeah.
I've seen more for that than anything I've ever seen in my entire life
That's
for
correct.
WNBA, and that is
Because
it's so
like
upsetting. Like
the
Gatorade,
women's
where you at?
tournament be dope.
it's
like-
crazy, but
Yeah.
they didn't do anything right. The women's tournament was the light that was shown on the women's tournament of 2021 on social media is the reason, in my opinion, that it got the hype in 2022. It got because they had, obviously it was peak COVID times, but you had the men's workout facility was
10 times
50 times bigger. No, 50. It was fucking huge. It was
That was
massive.
a
But the women's got a curtain on a rod, and that was in a 10 by
Some
10
yoga mats.
workout. Not yeah,
And
a work
dumbbells.
and some free weights. That was it. Like you have that, but you have girls. Like I can't remember her name. She played for Oregon. She just
Sabrina
got injured.
Ionescu.
Sabrina.
Yes, so
Yeah.
she just got there's a redshirt year. She's out for the season, unfortunate. But you have girls on social media with millions of followers that are taking that problem to social media, and it was remedied like that.
But look, what's crazy about it? The top most beside in basketball, in women in basketball period in college basketball, the women are the most valuable NIL. Like
the college women. I know
the college women, they're the most valuable NIL players.
I know a
So-
few college girls that's sitting on $1 million in NILs, and some of them have tweets. Every time you tweet a certain product, their
Right.
rate is 10 grand to 25
Right.
grand.
Haley Jones, Aaliyah
Tweet a
Boston. Like,
So that's
I know
another
you
point I'm
guys
gonna
have
make.
all seen the comedy Bill Murray, whatever he gave that epic
Yeah.
comedy tune about how the women failed the WNBA. Like I actually agree with it, but college, I still think college is a hotter topic than the WNBA, but the WNBA is just on fire right now. This is my opinion.
I think in the
And-
next 5 years, the WNBA viewership and participation from your average patient will be at its peak in history, in my opinion, just because you have all of these
Dollars.
girls in college that have millions of followers and are influential to a certain extent that are going to go into the NBA or the WNBA, and that are going to have that impact from that standpoint to
We need
the
some of them
game.
girls to retire though from the WNBA.
Yeah,
like,
true.
They're starting to. I agree with that, EJ.
Yeah.
So they're starting to get out the way. Like
Sue
the
been there
national
for a
team,
minute.
did you even know 6 of those girls on the national team? Have you ever heard of them? At least 6 of those, finally. And I've been saying that for years. You got some of these old heads got to get out the way. I mean, they
right.
and did what they did, but it's time to move. And that's another reason why people stop watching.
Sue,
But like somebody like Candace Parker, I
Taurasi.
mean, she's on one of I don't know if she's number 1 or 2 broadcast for TNT. She's one of the play-by-play analysts now. Like,
And
I
have you
think
seen
it's
her NBA game decline rapidly?
oh, 100%. She can't play no more.
Yeah.
But to CEO's point earlier, she said she's a point for it. My fault, no disrespect. To CEO's point earlier, I think the game is even changing WNBA side. Like Chelsea Gray 1-on-1 is like
beast.
cold. Like
Beast.
anybody playing basketball, like cold, just 1-on-1 game. And I think it's changing. I've seen some highlights of girls that are 14, 15, drop stepping, dunking. So like, I think the style of game that reflects kind of the NBA is a showman style and 1-on-1 and kind of flashiness. I think that's kind of changing right now. I mean, Steph Curry's not glorified for his athletic abilities, his skill set. So I think it's
right.
And I think the talent is starting to come through women's college. Like Paige Beckers. I remember seeing Paige Beckers. They showed her in high school on ESPN.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
what's the chick, the number 1 player from that went to LSU who was rapping? Like you starting to see them, like you starting to get to follow them earlier in their path to their career.
It makes your girl from Notre Dame.
Huh?
Your girl from Notre Dame.
Which
Who
one?
from Notre Dame?
That ain't no push off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Listen, I think
talking reckless.
Talking reckless.
I think that everything Chelsea Gray did in the Seattle series single-handedly revived the WNBA. Like it needed that. Like that was life support. That was AED machine. That was and that alone just drew. I mean, even the tweets from the guys after that. And all of a sudden, if you were at game 2 or whatever before they went to Connecticut, how many NBA players showed up? Like it was insane. Coaches, everything to see her, to see that. So I think the WNBA needed that. Like, and it helped. And that keep on riding it.
The only thing I don't like, Chelsea Gray mix somebody up, no look dime, and then we get a George Mikan.
And we
get a George Mikan, layup on the other end.
I do miss that. You want to keep the rim at 10 feet, right?
Facts. I am good, but I miss. I got to yell.
You said a George Mikan.
You don't want the George Mikan layup. You drop the rim.
Hey,
you don't want that, you drop the rim.
Chelsea Gray already had a chip. Chelsea Gray got a chip in her rookie year. She just wasn't a part of it. She got a chip with LA, and that was her driving thing. She wasn't a part of it. She averaged like 6 minutes a game that year or something like that.
I got that jersey.
I got that one.
I have my WNBA jerseys. I have Candace Parker. I got Simone Augustus. I got damn near all the damn aces, the whole team. So
that's what's up.
It, man.
Well, there's some challenges, man. I mean, like you said, I think that all in all, it was a great season. There's some things that they need to do. Hopefully, they get there.
They need to get off Spirit Airlines. They still flying commercial.
And not even JetBlue.
Spirit is the airline they own.
JetBlue, I like JetBlue now.
You know what's crazy about it? Some of the owners want to just use their team planes.
Yeah,
but
and
they can't use them because the whole league don't have it.
Whole league done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. They need to let's get this airline deal going.
Yep.
Right. Go on sign with Delta.
Why? It makes sense.
Nah, it doesn't.
Why not?
Delta lose your bags.
Nah, but these owners who are choosing not to collectively say we're going to commit to spend for these teams. It's solely up to those 12 to say, hey, let's put something in front of the board of directors. Yes, we're going to make it better for our players. Just very similarly to other sports. Like, come on, y'all. Like, commercial? That's what people who don't get paid. Like, come on.
They up from the Greyhound buses.
These aren't poor people. That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about the owner isn't me.
It was taking the Greyhound.
We are talking about people with loot. Let's be crystal clear. We're not talking about broke motherfuckers.
So let me ask you this.
That's the same thing with the markets. Everyone in the NBA is a billionaire. Don't talk to me about trying to save a couple.
Well, no.
Yeah, private plane's only like $7 million.
None of them all. Like I tell somebody, it's like they really don't make a lot of money off the NBA.
It's not about making money. He's saying they got the money.
I'm just saying, like, no, I'm saying the NBA as a whole, like the NBA as a team owner, I equivalent that to you driving a Porsche.
That's right.
Or BMW. That's all it is.
That's not where you get your loot. That's
not.
It
depreciates in value unless you sell it. Like you sell the roster. But like other than that, it's basically just a cost. Like you really losing money on all of it because the contracts are so high. So you don't have that money to spend on the WNBA because you're really not making money on the other side.
So, but here's my question though, because we're at a point now. It's 2022. We're about to go in 2023. This isn't 1996 or whenever the WNBA got started. People know about the NBA. I mean about the WNBA. And particularly in going back to even Bill Burr's stand-up, which I watched and I thought that bit was brilliant. Right. Like, what is it that is key? Why aren't women? I mean, we went like over the past 5 years, we've experienced a lot of historical events that were supposed to unite women. You know, coming from not just the Me Too movement to like all this stuff, like this women's empowerment. And the WNBA's been here. It's not like they don't know it exists. And you're saying, like, why aren't they putting more money behind it? Now, yes, should there be more money put behind these organizations? Yeah. But, like, why aren't women going, we are going to ride for this?
I can't answer that question.
There's three types of women that attend a WNBA game. You have your lesbians who they market to. You have your single women on date night with whoever, and then you have coaches who take their kids. There's literally 3 women that go to those games. It doesn't reach the masses, and clearly the lesbians don't fill up the stadium because that's literally. I mean, you walk around or you go in there and leave. I think it's a pretty cool thing. Not knocking it one way or the other, but that seems to be the only market. And there's a whole lot of people who I've heard people say this. Oh, I ain't going to that game. Ain't nobody hitting on me. Or there's a whole bunch of Christians who are like, oh, they promote, being gay or and I've heard it, and I've heard it from people, and I've heard it from good people who won't go because of what they think the WNBA is. Or I've heard people say, oh, all the people that play is gay and they're all married to people, and I'm like, yeah, but you don't know those people. Why is that stopping you from going?
Oh no, because they trying to replicate the gold digging culture that exists in the WNBA. That's why. Like that. I mean, that's what it is. It's like you're trying to replicate. They're trying to replicate the entire culture. Like when you go to an NBA game, you go to any male professional sport game, they spread it out, through first couple rows, and so they just want to replicate that, which is weird. But I just think it's like, if there was ever a time for like women to really get behind the WNBA, it was like the last 5 years.
I agree.
I'm definitely one of those people that talk about the extra competition going to the game.
WNBA got too many internal stuff they need to clean up first, though. It's a lot of internal stuff they dealing with.
For sure. I mean, $10 tickets. I don't know. First of all, that's never going to happen for any other sport finals. But you legitimately, there was not enough people to understand that you can get and to watch history for $10. Yes, parking, but just saying $10 and you can't sit in place. The most expensive ticket in there, like what, 5 rows up, was only $100.
Right. And so just think how muddy it's gonna get for the Aces when the A's come to town, the NBA team come to town, MLS come to town. Then it's gonna be a battle of attrition of who's gonna survive that.
Las Vegas turned into a metropolitan city right before our eyes.
Yeah.
Because they're already
I mean, it's an off season, so the only thing I have baseball and I guess soccer. MLS starts, I think, in April as well.
There's a lot of people that go to the Raiders games because it's in the summer. It's Las Vegas. It's entertaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I never have to worry about selling a damn Raiders ticket.
Right, but
them hoes always gone.
And they're successful, and it's in the summer. That's going to take away a little bit of crowd.
But I think any team in Vegas, honestly, because of the attraction Vegas has, I think any team should do fine, honestly. And that's the sad thing. But I feel, like I said, back to marketing, honestly. If the WNBA marketed well, if at all, I think that their viewership would go up, personally.
Feel it. All right, y'all, man. It's been a great evening. I appreciate y'all jumping on. Anybody got anything before we get out?
We them boys. Hashtag it. Throw up the X. Always does. Cowboys, we're just doing good. World Cup soccer in 20 days, less than. Champions League knockout stages coming. It's just a good time for soccer, personally. The Mavs, look at the GOAT, Himothy. You already know. Rangers, dog shit. I don't want to talk about it. Fired our owner, or not the owner, but the GM. So next season might be different. But yeah. If also the Texas lottery is at $1 billion, so I'm gonna go buy my ticket. Everybody wins. Listen, I'm gonna give you my guarantee. My guarantee right now. If I were to hit the lottery, I'm buying the wings. All right, and it's gonna be a different WNBA if I get my hands on it. I'm gonna let you know now.
Yo,
Right.
EP, they are not selling you the wing.
Hey, hey,
Okay, how much money you got?
it's valued at $43
They're not
million.
selling it to your black
Hey,
ass. I
I'll
can tell
throw
you
them
that
50,
right now.
60 maybe even. I mean, hey, money talks, bullshit walks.
I
I have money.
You still
take this 100.
You still a black man. They are not selling the wings to your black ass.
I'll find out. I'm gonna buy my ticket tomorrow.
CEO, anything?
Free my man Melo. That's it. That's all I got. Free Melo.
King Gene.
Go Astros.
Fuck the Stros.
Hey, whoa.
As a Rangers fan, how many times y'all been caught cheating already? This foreign substances already this season?
Get out of here. It wasn't nothing.
The math ain't mathing. That's all I'm saying.
Whatever. We just better than everybody.
Hold on. My monitor is beeping a little bit real quick.
Shout out to Ebony. Buy me a ticket, AB.
Ebony, I got you.
Birdie, anything else?
Just want to give a nod to all the high schoolers. Next Saturday, Las Vegas High School basketball, men and women starts, kick off the season. So it's going to be some pretty interesting things happening around here after that.
Let's go.
Facts. Brennan.
Nothing, man. Just
chill.
Yeah.
I know he's not the brother being nothing. Just chill.
I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got nothing for it. Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be alive. Happy to be with y'all. So appreciate it.
Cool. Appreciate y'all for jumping on, and those that were listening, man, thank you for tuning in, asking us questions. We love the support. We're gonna keep going it. EJ.
Yeah, just really quick, man. Belated birthday to Young EP, man. Happy birthday to you, nephew. And birthday coming up to Birdie. She got a birthday. Hold on, it's coming up this weekend, right?
Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday.
Happy birthday.
I see her early. Happy early birthday. So thank you guys, like I said.
I'll have 10 for you this Saturday. Don't worry about it. I'll do all the drinking for you.
Out of those winnings?
Yeah.
Out of those winnings.
All right, man. Well, thank you all again, man. We appreciate you joining us, man. And please share the show. For those that couldn't make it, people were out there doing their little trick or treating and holiday stuff. So we had a few. Our regulars didn't make it, but like MH said, thank you for all that posed questions online. Shout out to Ebony. We appreciate you. We saw our ACL pro, Mr. Adrian was on, man. Shout out to him, man. Yeah, man. What he say? Salute, because if no one else believes in you, he do.
Facts.
Yeah, I should definitely make sure y'all catch that episode. But thank you everybody that kind of hops on, man. And like I said, appreciate you guys for spending that time with us, man. So until the next time, man, you guys be safe and enjoy your day. All right. And remember, be safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.